Oh! Mega Cat Studios are what?
Before I was a father. Before I was a god. I was a Spartan.
Spartans! Our duty is to Sparta. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision. Press your attack!
Oh!
Never on our backs! Never left behind! Always united!
The legendary saga of gods and monsters, of tragedies and triumphs, of destruction and redemption.
Oh my God!
Here.
Deimos, be ready!
Oh, it's Deimos and Kratos! God of War, Sons of Sparta! Yo! Available 2026!
This is only the beginning.
Yes!
But I thought it was my duty to help all Spartans. Yet Mother says no, your duty is to your family.
Duty. Do you know the meaning of the word Calliope?
I think so.
Well, let me tell you a story.
You? Really? What kind?
Something that happened to me many seasons, many years ago.
Duty over doubt.
Oh, do I love me my God of War games? Oh my God. When I saw this trailer for God of War Sons of Sparta, I was so excited. Not only because we're getting a God of War trilogy remake. Yes! Yes! Oh my God! Frick yeah! Ah! Yes! 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 The God of War trilogy remake! Yes! Oh my God! Yes! But also we got this shadow drop game of God of War Sons of Sparta, a Metroidvania style of game, just dropped to us at the February State of Play. And I was really interested and excited to see what this game was about. And as I got to play it and as I got through the game, there were some things that I was surprised about and I wasn't expecting, both good and bad. So with this shadow dropped game, does God of War Sons of Sparta live up to the hype and the expectations that the past God of War games have lived up to? I'm Brett J. Rasmussen, and this is my review of God of War Sons of Sparta.
The legendary saga of gods and monsters, of tragedies and triumphs, of destruction and redemption begins here.
Deimos, be ready for Sparta!
This is only the beginning.
Before we continue the review, oh wait, I forgot something. Spear, yes. As I said, before we continue with the review, please subscribe to the channel and also press the like button. That always helps us here, so that way it helps with the YouTube algorithm and all that kind of stuff. And also, please let me know if you guys played God of War Sons of Sparta and what you guys thought of it. And also follow us at all of our socials down in the description right down below. So with that being said, let's continue the review. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna have to get that later, but that's okay.
Father, it sounds like when you were young, you talked about the gods with a lot more, I don't know, faith than you do now. Don't you still believe in them?
Oh, I do. But my feelings on the gods of Olympus are more complicated now. Still, you would do well to remain in their favor.
Before he sold his soul to Ares, the god of war, before he killed his wife and daughter to become the ghost of Sparta, before he became the god of war, even before him killing the entire Olympian Pantheon of Gods, Kratos was a family man. The story of God of War, Sons of Sparta begins with Kratos finding his daughter Calliope and sitting down with her to tell her a story about the meaning of duty. Which brings us to a young Kratos, who's about 14 at this time, and his brother Deimos, training to later join the Spartan Army. In the story of God of War, Sons of Sparta, Kratos and Deimos find out a classmate of theirs who was also training to join the Spartan Army has now gone missing, and the two of them now take it upon themselves to go and find him. Now, there's a lot of things about this story that I do like, and there's a lot of potential of this story that I do enjoy. In the game Ghost of Sparta, we find out that Deimos was taken from Kratos and taken away from him, and we don't know why that happened or what happened to him before then or whatever. But seeing that Deimos has returned, I was really excited to see what the story was going to be about, and I thought we were going to see what was going to happen to Deimos. Like, this game was going to lead up to Deimos being taken away from Kratos, but that's not what this game is about. This game is about the story of Kratos and Deimos and their brotherhood, them being two brothers and how they interact with each other. What I really liked about the story or about the relationship between Kratos and Deimos is how different they both are, but how close they are to each other. I do like the little nods in this game that has certain things to nod to past games like Calliope and a few others, but the one thing that I do find about the story is that this story is very lackluster. I do like that Deimos is the more optimistic one and the outgoing one, and is a foil to Kratos, who is more stoic and stubborn, and I like kind of to see how Deimos and Kratos are with each other. Kratos is more stoic and Deimos is a little bit more of a free spirit, but that really was the only anchoring point of the story within this game. It just kind of feels just like it's there. You're meant to go find your friend who has gone missing, and the story is fine, it's not bad, but when you get to the end, there's supposed to be an emotional connection to it, and when I got to the end, I didn't really feel that, unlike in other God of War games, like God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. The one thing about the story that I am surprised with and I am a bit sad about is that the story is just so lackluster. It could have been better. It could have been better, but sadly, it's not.
Guess I thought destroying the fountains would do something.
Be ready!
What is that thing?
I don't know!
Then yes! Wine doesn't do that!
Because it's full of ichor!
Ichor? God blood? Okay, maybe, but what's animating it?
Now, the one thing that this game exceeds in is in its gameplay. The gameplay is so challenging and so much fun. The gameplay is like an old school Metroidvania, which makes it feel very different to the other God of War games, the classic ones during the Greece era and even God of War Norse era from God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. And I actually really enjoyed the Metroidvania style of it. I had a fun time playing the Metroidvania style, and it was really fun and really challenging. And the music in it, oh my god, the music in it is so good. Bear McCreary returns to compose the music of this game, and the music of this game crazily has this kind of weird 64-bit sound to it, but it still has that huge orchestra sound that Bear McCreary is known for in God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, but it still has that like 90s style 64-bit tune to it. I love it. The other thing that I really do like about this game is the art design behind Sons of Sparta. Megacat Studios, who did make the Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit game, does have the similar style of the 64-bit old school 90s style that they made for Into the Pit into God of War Sons of Sparta. So the art design of this game is really, really cool, and I really like how different it is. In the combat, your main weapon is a spear. Well, not this one. I found this from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. But anyway, you get a spear and a shield. You also get other different weapons too from the gods that use your magic meter, like a slingshot and a sword and this thing like that throws fire and stuff like that. There's also a stamina bar that allows you to do special moves. And when you use your stamina bar, when you attack, that's how you can stun your enemies by increasing that stun bar under the enemies, and then also getting health back by using that. And then by attacking enemies regularly, you get more orbs for your stamina bar and vice versa. What I have found, which was really cool as I was playing through Sons of Sparta, is that there's a way that you can make different builds in the game. And there are certain sets to spears that you can build. So the spearhead, the handle, and anchor that you can put together, for instance, like the hunter set or the iron set, and each one does a different thing. There's also this belt that holds different equipable perks that you can then find and level up. And you can level up your spear, your shield, everything. But one of the things that I found frustrating when it came to it, I could see that you can create different builds, and I had to use different builds in order to progress my way through the game, because certain enemies were harder to fight or bosses were harder to fight, but you couldn't create build loadouts. If you wanted to change your build to a more attack-focused build, to a more defense-heavy build, you have to change everything in your current setup. There is no other choice. You have to change everything. All of your perks, all of your spear pieces, everything. And I was very frustrated with that because I could see that there are builds in this game, but you can't create build loadouts, and that was a frustrating thing. Now, this could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your opinion, but the boss fights were definitely challenging. There was even one or two bosses that took me a long time, multiple hours to beat, because I didn't get myself to the right level or have the right weapon pieces to be able to fight the boss. So I had to figure out a way, what is their attack patterns and how they were going to do it, and I had to figure out a way on how to beat it. But once I got it, man, did it feel gratifying to finally beat those bosses. And what's really cool is that throughout the game, Deimos comes in to help you in the fight, which is really, really cool. But along with no build loadouts, one of the biggest and most frustrating things about this game is that there were so many glitches throughout this game, and those glitches did actually hurt my experience. There were times in the game where the voiceover were a few seconds off to what was being shown on screen. There was also a time or two where the game crashed and I lost a few percentages, because in this game, you can't just pause the game and save the game. You have to go to certain points in the game, campfires in this game, in Sons of Sparta, and that's where you go to save your game. Very similar to a Metroidvania style game. But there have been many times where I saved the game at the campfire and then the game crashes somehow because too much is happening or whatever it would be. And I have lost 2, 3, 4, even 5 percentages of the overall percentage of the game. And those things were so frustrating. I was able to get back to where I was before the game crashed, but man, it happened multiple times, and just this game has so much potential to it. The combat's great. It's so fun, it feels like a God of War game, but the crashes and the voiceover being out of sync and a lot of just other technical things that should have been ironed out before the game came out weren't. And because of that, it ruined or at least dampened the good experience I was having with Sons of Sparta.
You think the gods have been good to us? We're two bastard kids whose mother lives in disgrace on the fringes of society. What really have the gods ever given us?
They gave me you? Come. Let's go find Vasilis.
brother. They gave me you, too. I will forever appreciate that.
Now, this was a really hard one for me to lock down my final verdict for God of War Sons of Sparta. I thoroughly enjoyed the game and did have a fun time with it, and I did enjoy aspects of the story also, especially the story between the relationship between Kratos and Deimos. But with all the glitches and a middling story, but fun and difficult gameplay, it was really hard for me to lock down my final verdict. The gameplay is so much fun, and it does feel like a God of War game. It had challenging bosses and enemies, and when I was able to figure out how to beat them, it felt rewarding. And I love the art design and the music of this game, and I enjoy the relationship between Kratos and Deimos. But the story just feels like it just exists. It's a fetch quest to go find their friend, and that's it. The game ends once you do. And there could have been more thought put into it outside of the relationship between Deimos and Kratos. The gameplay is still fun, and there's some quality of life things that just feel missing, and the game is really glitchy. Not enough where it's unplayable, but it does feel undercooked, and it could have had a bit more time to get developed before it came out when it did. There's so much missing potential for God of War Sons of Sparta, and it could have made the game even better, and for it to fit in with the other God of War games that have come out in the past that have been so amazing. What I see here with Sons of Sparta is that there's a skeleton of a great game, but that's all we have is a skeleton. If God of War Sons of Sparta got a bit more time to develop, this game would be amazing. And look, I still had a great time with this game, and I had fun with the combat and the relationship between Kratos and Deimos, and the return of T.C. Carson as the voice of Kratos, the original OG voice of Kratos, returning to play that role was amazing. It gave me that feeling of nostalgia. And I even enjoyed the game being made and being played as a Metroidvania style game. It actually didn't put me off. I had a great time with it being a Metroidvania style game. I came into this game with no expectations. After I played Sons of Sparta, I enjoyed it being a Metroidvania style of game. If you accept the style that it's a Metroidvania instead of the old school God of War or even the third person action style that it is for the Norse mythology of the God of War games, you will have fun with its gameplay. But God of War Sons of Sparta has a middling story, many glitches, and a feeling of missing potential. The gameplay and the combat is where this game shines, and I love the art design and the soundtrack too, and the relationship between Kratos and Deimos is what anchors the story of this game. But that is it. My final verdict for God of War Sons of Sparta is a 3 out of 5.
That's a complete set now. Penelope herself had no finer trinkets.
Trinkets. That's a fun word. Much better than shinies. Did you just make that up? Trinkets. Trinkets.
Suddenly, I'm not sure.